On this Sunday night, shattered trust, an exclusive investigation into sexual offenses in amateur sport.
Predators are smart people who look for points of access.
Our groundbreaking research pulls together hundreds of cases. We explain the risk, plus one survivor tells his story.
The abuse was normal to me.
We begin a special series you need to see if you have kids in sport. And the mounting criticism over the SNC-Lavalin scandal.
Were you pressured by PMO, ma'am? Anyone at PMO?
Tonight, the government shows signs of giving a little.
We are not broken. Hear me, people, we are not broken.
Plus, a healing vigil for Toronto's gay village to honor the men murdered by serial killer Bruce McArthur. After years of strain between police and the community, could tonight be the beginning of a turning point? This is The National. Parents have the best intentions when they put their kids into sports programs. It's healthy, instills discipline, confidence, but an exclusive joint investigation by CBC News and Sports reveals a dire problem. A startling number of coaches in children's sports have been charged with a sexual offense against a minor. Their victims number in the hundreds, and no sport seems immune to the threat of predators. Hockey, judo, swimming. For the first time, we've gathered the numbers from court records and media reports across the country. They show that kids have long been at risk for decades, and the system has failed to protect them. Later in our program, you're going to hear from a victim still haunted by his childhood abuse. And we'll tell you how this special investigation is already getting the attention of the Federal Minister of Sport and the Canadian Olympic Committee. But first, the CBC's Jamie Strachan lays out what we know in Shattered Trust, sexual offenses in amateur sport.
In sports, the rules are often defined by a series of lines. Lines in the pool, on the court, and in the arena. This is about coaches crossing those lines. CBC examined thousands of court records across the country, spanning 2 decades. During that time, 222 coaches were convicted of a sexual offense against a minor, often involving a player they coached. Those convictions involved more than 600 victims.
It's like sport gets away with a lot because it's sport. And people think, well, I don't understand sport, so maybe we shouldn't be asking there. You know, so sport is a different world.
Former Olympian and University of Winnipeg professor Sandra Kirby studies issues around sexual abuse in sport. She says very few cases ever result in criminal charges.
What this does is tell me we've got a number of criminal cases that have come forward. They withstand the test of evidence. There are a number of these that are where the outcome is guilty. But it really is a small piece of the iceberg we're talking about.
The problem persists. Currently, more than 30 coaches involved with local clubs and organizations across Canada face new charges.
It's pretty gut-wrenching to see the findings of your research.
Lorraine Lafreniere, the head of the Coaches Association of Canada, says experts never knew the scope of the problem.
So it's about a system. The system has to think about how they're going to put a sign up at the front door of the system that says, safety first, not just on the field play, but for our youth and protection of our children.
The data compiled by CBC shows no sport is immune. The analysis found charges in 36 different sports. Hockey, which has the second highest number of participants in the country, had 59 convictions. Other sports with high participation rates in Canada include soccer with 40 coaches charged and 27 convicted, basketball with 15 coaches convicted, martial arts sports with 13, and swimming with 15.
That, to me, points to the sports system needing to think about the sports system as safety and not saying, oh, no, that's over there in hockey, or no, that's over there in gymnastics or alpine. It's about the system. Predators are smart people who look for points of access.
Things were supposed to be different. 20 years ago, the case of notorious junior hockey coach Graham James and his serial abuse of multiple players was supposed to shine a light on the issue of coaches abusing their players. But the data compiled by CBC shows that in the last 20 years, the problem continues. National sport organizations have struggled to implement clear, uniform rules for all parents, athletes, and coaches to follow. Grassroots clubs and organizations have had an even harder time. Experts say parents need more transparency around problem coaches in children's sports.
I think we need a national registry, and I think sport organizations also need a list. And people get very afraid about this. There's been very little compliance and very little effectiveness in terms of sports actually doing a good job of this kind of work.
Currently, no national or provincial sports organization provides local clubs and parents with a public list of banned coaches and the reasons for their ban.
Okay, so Jamie, a lot to take in there. And I suppose we should underline that the actual number of abuse cases could be much higher because lots of cases go unreported. Your investigation involves only those cases where there are criminal charges.
Yeah, these are criminal charges, criminal convictions.
So what kind of sort of centralized guideline set or rule set is there to prevent this sort of abuse from happening?
Very little in this country. The top of the sports system, the national sports system, some very good, some very robust rules, but their focus is really on putting people on podiums, getting a uniform set of rules down into the grassroots where these cases that we're talking about happened. Very difficult in Canada, so it's been left to the clubs to kind of develop, implement, and enforce their own rules for the most part. So different spots of the country, different sports, different rules.
And this is just the start of the investigation. It's going to be rolling out over the course of the week. What kind of a reaction have you been getting so far, though?
We've heard from Canada's Sport Minister, Kirsty Duncan. She called the investigation heartbreaking. Also heard from the Canadian Olympic Committee and from the Coaches Association of Canada, who this week will be introducing a series of safe sports summits aimed at harmonizing the very rules we're talking about.
Okay, we'll be watching. Jamie, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And a bit later, Jamie will have the story of a former figure skater, outstanding young athlete, but who suffered years of abuse at the hands of his coach. It drove him from the sport he loved.
And that's the hardest thing is, like I said, I never got a chance to find out what might have been. I never got the opportunity to reach my potential. It could have been a lot different, you know.
That story in about 25 minutes' time. Okay, to Ottawa now, where criticism of the PM is piling up. Justin Trudeau denies the allegation that his office pressured his former justice minister into going easy on a Canadian construction firm facing criminal prosecution. But Jody Wilson-Raybould, the minister in question, won't go that far, saying only that client solicitor privilege prevents her from speaking. Not good enough, says the opposition. Salima Shivji explains.
This is a yes or no answer. Which is it?
After days of pointed questions.
Hi, Minister. What's your reaction to the Globe and Mail story today, please?
I don't have any comment.
Were you pressured by PMO, ma'am? Anyone PMO?
And not a lot of answers. Today, more pressure from the leader of the opposition Conservatives. Andrew Scheer is demanding the Prime Minister let former Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould speak about the exact nature of her discussions with the Prime Minister's office on the criminal charges SNC-Lavalin is facing. In a letter, Scheer says Canadians deserve answers on this matter. He calls on Justin Trudeau to immediately waive solicitor-client privilege. And the letter goes on to say if Trudeau does not, Canadians can only conclude that there is something he's hiding. The Liberals have said the allegations of any undue pressure are false, but the opposition has succeeded in forcing the House Justice Committee to meet this Wednesday to decide whether or not to investigate further. The committee's chair, Liberal MP Anthony Housefather, says it's perfectly natural for the Prime Minister's office to talk to the Justice Minister.
The real question is whether those communications allegedly crossed a line where direction was given or pressure put on the Attorney General. And if the committee were going to investigate anything, I think it would be that very confined question.
The issue will go to a vote the Liberals could carry. They simply have more members on the committee.
The committee will have to determine whether a partisan House of Commons committee, which the Justice Committee is like any other committee, would be the proper venue for such an inquiry.
A senior source told us today the government hasn't yet decided whether it will waive privilege. They're waiting on advice from the Attorney General David Lameddi's office, worried that waiving privilege could jeopardize the criminal case against SNC-Lavalin. If they refuse, it will only invite more questions. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, it's important to note just how potentially high the stakes are here for the company and for the Prime Minister. First, this is an election year, but SNC-Lavalin as well has every reason to want to avoid more legal trouble. The World Bank has already banned SNC-Lavalin from bidding on projects it funds, citing misconduct over a bridge project in Bangladesh. Then there's Libya, when then Prime Minister Paul Martin shook hands with then dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2004. SNC-Lavalin's CEO was in tow, signing contracts. The RCMP alleges the company offered $47 million in bribes to the Libyan regime. If SNC were to be convicted of the corruption and fraud charges it faces, it would be banned from federal contracts for a decade, a devastating blow to its business. And Canada's economy would also take a hit. SNC-Lavalin employs nearly 9,000 people across the country. Well, now to a very different kind of scandal, the one involving Amazon billionaire Jeff Bezos and some X-rated photos. Bezos has accused the National Enquirer of blackmail. But today, as Paul Hunter reports, the lawyer for the tabloid's owner fought back.
First came the, for some, irresistible headlines. Then, last night...
So, Jeff Bezos' penis. What do you think it's going to look like?
The evidently equally irresistible send-ups on late-night comedy.
Eugene, your thoughts?
Well, as a journalist, this was not something I ever thought I'd have to cover. But as a human being, I'm naturally curious.
But, says Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, now taking on the king of the gossip tabloids, forget the salacious stuff and consider his serious allegation that the National Enquirer tried to blackmail him over his affair with former TV anchor Lauren Sanchez. Says Bezos, the paper threatened to publish explicit photos it had acquired unless Bezos backs off and states publicly the paper's coverage of his personal life was not politically motivated.
It absolutely is not extortion and not blackmail.
That's Elkin Abramowitz, lawyer for David Pecker, who runs the Enquirer's parent company. Pecker is also close friends with the president and has a history of coming to the aid of Donald Trump. Among the assets of Bezos is the Washington Post, and both regularly face the wrath of Trump. Hence the suggestion the coverage of Bezos' personal life is pure, dirty politics. Countered the paper today, its material came from a reliable source.
I can't discuss who the source was. It was somebody close to both Bezos and Ms. Sanchez.
The back and forth over those photos, just a negotiation in the name of good journalism.
It's absolutely not a crime to ask somebody to simply tell the truth.
Says Bezos, if he doesn't stand up to this kind of thing, who will? Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Last week, our Go Public team brought you the story of an Air Canada passenger who says he voluntarily gave up his seat on an overcrowded flight but wasn't given the compensation he was promised. Well, tonight, Air Canada insiders are speaking out about the practice of overselling flights. And as Erica Johnson reports, they say it's widespread and that it forces them to dupe passengers.
This flight is oversold.
If you've flown Air Canada, you've probably heard this announcement before.
And you could receive $400 cash.
Too many passengers, not enough seats. An Air Canada ticket agent who quit last year says the airline oversells all the time.
I was shocked. I had no idea that Air Canada was doing this at this scale.
CBC has agreed not to identify him because it could jeopardize his current employment. Someone else reads his words.
We're trained to tell them that their seat will be assigned at the gate and they have nothing to worry about.
Another Air Canada agent who's worked for the airline for more than 2 decades says he trains agents not to tell passengers they're on standby if their boarding pass doesn't show a seat. We've had someone read his words, too.
If you explain that to them, they'll get upset. So just send them to the gate. They won't realize it until they're through security, and then it's too late.
Air Canada wouldn't give Go Public an interview. In a statement, it said overselling is common practice in the industry and benefits customers by keeping fares lower. It also said out of 500,000 tickets oversold last year, only a fraction of passengers were denied boarding because several million customers per year no-show. Proposed federal airline regulations don't ban the practice of overselling, but do increase compensation for people who can't get on their flights.
The amount that they will be reimbursed can be as much as $2,400, depending on how much of a delay it causes them in getting to their final destination.
This air passenger rights advocate says bigger payouts are meaningless because the new rules make it harder for passengers to prove they're entitled to compensation.
The proposed regulations require the passenger to demonstrate that the reason that they were denied boarding is because there were more passengers at the gate than seats on the aircraft. This is impossible to show.
The public has until February 20th to weigh in on the new rules.
And Erica joins us now. So Erica, to be clear, it's when you have your ticket in hand but no specific seat assigned, you could potentially be in trouble.
Yeah, that's right, because you have a boarding pass with no specific seat. So there are a couple of things you can do if you want to try to avoid being bumped. Number one is, of course, pay extra for seat selection when you buy your ticket. If you balk at that idea and you're willing to take a risk, you can always check in online 24 hours before your flight takes off. No charge, you can book a seat then. And of course, it never hurts to check in early at the airport.
Okay, but there are other airlines, right, where you don't run into this problem at all?
Yeah, in terms of overselling, we checked with WestJet and they say they have a policy of never intentionally overselling a flight. Porter does oversell as well. All three airlines say, though, that the majority of times when someone is bumped, it's actually not due to overselling, it's because of something they call overbooking. And that happens when a larger flight has to be downgraded, a larger plane to a smaller plane, for any number of reasons like mechanical issues. Now, if you're an airline industry insider and you have a story you'd like to share with us, we want to hear from you. So shoot us an email at gopublic@cbc.ca.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Erica.
Thank you.
Okay, Renee Filipponi is tracking developing stories for us on this Sunday night. Renee, what are you watching?
Well, let's start in BC, Andrew, where a hydro crew is working to restore power after one storm are having to work through some more bad weather. This is the mess in Surrey right now. Snow that isn't just falling, but sticking, and there is a lot of it. The forecast is calling for 10 to 25 centimeters overnight. Road conditions are so bad, a major highway on Vancouver Island was closed. The snow is making the job harder for hydro crews trying to restore power to thousands still without it after yesterday's storm. And the wind didn't just topple trees, it also flipped a barge in Horseshoe Bay. Former Minister of Finance Michael Wilson has died. He was 81 years old. Wilson served in the cabinets of Joe Clark and Brian Mulroney. He helped negotiate the Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement and its successor, NAFTA. He was also Canada's ambassador to the United States from 2006 to 2009. He was an early advocate for mental health after his son died by suicide in 1995. He's being remembered as an outstanding Canadian who left an impact on his country in messages from the Prime Minister and the Governor General.
And still ahead on The National, breaking the silence on sexual abuse in sports. We'll continue our in-depth investigation and hear one survivor's story, why former figure skater Brian Jessup wants his story known. But first, it's only been a few days since Bruce McArthur was sentenced to life in prison. Now a community gathers to begin its healing process.
We are strong. We have fought for a long time just to be who we are, and we're not giving up.
Sail on, silver girl. Sail on. Don't be afraid. My love is stronger.
Our hearts have been breaking over and over again for a long time now, and we have learned, sometimes to our dismay, that it turns out we can live with a broken heart.
Words of pain as the Toronto community takes a step towards healing tonight. They held a vigil to remember the 8 victims of Bruce McArthur and to comfort those left hurt and afraid in the wake of his murders. McArthur targeted members of the gay community, but the effects of his crimes were felt much more widely than that. Also in the crowd tonight, police who've been working on the case. So that closed one chapter, and tonight, in some ways, opened another. One focused on recovering, yes, but also finding answers to questions about the investigation itself. Because, as Natalie Nanowski tells us, calls for a full public inquiry into how police handled the case are getting louder.
A community trying to heal from years of pain.
Only now can we truly begin to make sure this doesn't happen again and begin the healing journey.
It's a long road to trust.
People of racialized LGBTQ communities in our city of Toronto had been saying for a long time there was something up.
In his first news conference since the sentence, the police chief pledged to build a bridge.
We will do everything that we can to continue to strengthen our relationships with communities and figure out what we need to do to learn and grow.
There's always going to be a divide and there's always a fracture, but I think there's going to have to be points where everyone can come together.
This is one of those times.
We do have in our midst some dignitaries, members of the municipal, provincial, and federal governments, as well as the Toronto Police Services.
Praying together, remembering the 8 men whose lives were cut short. The victims' families were spared the nightmare of a trial when Bruce McArthur pleaded guilty. But there are still so many unanswered questions. A review into how police handled missing persons cases is underway. Initially, McArthur's crimes were left out, but now that the sentencing is over, the head of the review has requested to include those 2. But legal expert Douglas Elliott thinks a public inquiry is needed instead.
I think people have to understand that what Justice Gloria Epstein is doing right now is not a public inquiry. She's appointed by the Toronto Police Services Board, and she's only got the power that is given to her by the Police Services Board, and no more. When you are a public inquiry, you can compel witnesses to attend. You can subpoena them if they don't want to cooperate. You can subpoena documents.
So that I can see.
So much more work to do to mend the relationship. But for the people in this church, this is a starting point. Natalie Nanowski, CBC News, Toronto.
And still ahead on The National, a first in the nation's capital. Ottawa celebrates Winter Pride and marks 50 years since a major milestone. Plus, our continuing investigation into sexual abuse in sport. Brian Jessup opens up about his painful past and the lifelong impact.
He absolutely let me know that he was in complete control of not only my skating career, but my life as well.
David Brubaker has been one of Canada's top elite gymnastics coaches, Olympic level. But he's also charged with sexually assaulting and exploiting an underage girl who trained with him for years. This week in Sarnia, Ontario, a judge will give her verdict. And if Brubaker is found guilty, it will hardly have been an isolated case. An exclusive joint investigation by CBC News and Sports has pulled together some worrying numbers. As we said at the top of the show, over a 20-year period, more than 600 Canadian children have been sexually abused while playing or training in organized sports. And those, I will underline, are only the cases we confirmed from the public record involving criminal charges. These victims, we rarely hear from them because their stories are almost always shrouded by publication bans. But former figure skater Brian Jessup went to court to have his ban lifted. The CBC's Jamie Strachan met Jessup near his home in Ontario. Here's the next chapter in our investigation, Shattered Trust, Sexual Offenses in Amateur Sport.
You're smiling in the picture.
Yeah.
You look like someone who loves skating.
I loved skating.
It's a great photo.
Yeah. This is the Burlington Figure Skating Club, I believe.
So how old
I
did you?
would have been, I'm going to say grade 6 or 7. That would have been right around the time that that I started training with my new coach.
Brian Jessup hardly ever looks at these pictures. They're from a chapter in his life he spent years desperately trying to forget.
It's hard. It brings back a lot of memories.
Jessup rarely comes here. In fact, it's been years since he's put on his skates.
The abuse was just, that was normal to me. I had, you know, it started at such a young age that I had no previous prior sexual encounters or anything like that with anybody ever, right?
Jessup was 12 years old and one of the top skaters in Ontario when he met coach Kevin Hicks. Hicks would go on to abuse Jessup for the next 6 years, altering his life forever.
It was very slow.
Looking back, he realizes how vulnerable he was. His father was an alcoholic, his mother wrestling with mental illness.
You know, he made me feel special because he took me on vacations, bought me nice clothes to wear. I didn't come from a family that had a lot of money.
When he was 13, he moved in with Hicks, and the abuse escalated.
He absolutely let me know that he was in complete control of not only my skating career, but my life as well. You know, I would be nothing if he wasn't part of my life. And he was quick to remind me of that often.
Yeah.
What happened to Jessup is familiar, says Noni Klassen, the director of education at the Centre for Child Protection. She says many of the victims tied to CBC's findings have similar stories.
And it starts before the sexual touching. Okay, so it starts with the inappropriate relationship, the misuse of the relationship, transgressing to a place that becomes much more personalized, much more personal, and much more secretive.
Like looking back on it, there had to have been people close to me in my life and in the figure skating world that had to have some, at least suspicion that maybe something was going on. I mean, I was with this man, like I said, 24 hours a day. And that wasn't normal.
Jessup skated through the abuse until he was 19, before abruptly leaving the sport and severing ties with Kevin Hicks. For more than 20 years, he didn't tell anybody about what had happened, the secret nearly destroying him.
I got to a pretty dark point in my life. I was, you know, abusing alcohol and drugs on a daily basis, so I wasn't a probably pleasant person to be around. And I always had hatred towards him for what he had done, and it just got to the point where I blamed everything wrong with my life on him.
It took years before Jessup would tell police, which is a common thing for victims of childhood sexual abuse.
And that takes an unbelievable amount of strength and courage to be able to do that, because the impact of this type of abuse on a child is incredibly corrosive. And that impact is something that extends with them throughout their life, and it extends way beyond their time and experience in the sport.
Kevin Hicks was convicted of sexually assaulting Jessup and another young skater whose name remains protected by a publication ban. Hicks was sentenced to 4 years in jail, but released after less than a year.
So it wasn't the justice I had initially was seeking, but it was very empowering for me to see him as a defendant in the court of law, and I was able to tell in detail actually what pain and suffering he put me through.
Jessup says talking about what happened to him is central to his recovery.
Yeah, I look at these and I seem so young and innocent.
He's sober, employed, and happily married. A large dining room table fills a room in his home, space for his large, supportive family. And for the first time in years, Jessup is talking freely about his past.
Yeah, every kid wants to be great at something, right? And that's what I was great at. I believe in my mind that I could have been the best in the world. I'm happy with my life right now. I'm in a great place and things are going well for me, but it could have been a lot different, you know.
Jamie Strachan, CBC News, St. Thomas.
We expect the numbers our investigation revealed will prompt questions. So we're bringing together a panel of experts later this week to help answer them. Whether you're a parent, an athlete, coach, or a club administrator, we want to hear from you. And you can submit your questions about overcoming sexual offenses in amateur sport to thenational@cbc.ca. Also, tomorrow, right here on the program, we're going to continue our series, Shattered Trust. Amateur gymnastics in Canada has been rocked by criminal charges against coaches, but predators can be awfully hard to spot.
You had told me that you did your background checks and all of that?
Yeah, we did as much as we could as we normally did. There was no flags at all. It's just, it got right by me. You know, like there was no bone in my body that wanted to go look deeper into the problem, because I thought I saw the guy every single day and I trusted him.
You thought you knew him?
I thought I knew him, yeah.
It breaks my heart that there are kids who are hurting. Every sport should have challenges. Kids should learn resiliency. They need to be accountable. They need to be hardworking. All those things. That's what makes an athlete special. They don't need to be degraded. They don't need to be beaten down. They don't need to endure inappropriate behavior ever.
Welcome back. Some of the stories we'll be watching on The National this week. Inside the last ISIS stronghold in Syria, a major battle is underway. U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces are making a final push to capture a sliver of land near the border with Iraq, all that remains of the group's self-proclaimed caliphate. Donald Trump has predicted the fight will be over by Wednesday. In Washington, Friday is deadline day. Lawmakers must reach a deal on border security funding or else face another partial government shutdown, and negotiations don't seem to be going all that well. Remember, Donald Trump wants $5.7 billion to build the wall. Democrats say no. The last shutdown lasted 35 days.
I am running for every American. I am running for you.
And another day, another Democrat entering the 2020 presidential race. Senator Amy Klobuchar made her bid official in the Midwest, trying to win over the area that helped get Trump elected. Her announcement comes on the heels of Senator Elizabeth Warren's. She was out campaigning in Iowa today. And as for who else might join the race, we're still watching for some big names like former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders. Okay, after the death of former NDP MP Paul Dewar this past week, a house we so often see divided was united in sorrow.
Let us heed Paul's final message to us.
He said, "Let's embrace each other in these days of cynicism and doubt.
In the stoics stillness of my journey, I have found my way to peace.
We are best when we love and when we are loved."
It is clear this week that Dewar was loved and appreciated by many, something that went well beyond party lines. And you heard some of his final words there, but there is much more. When he came forward with his cancer diagnosis months ago, he spoke to Rosie about facing death and embracing the time he had left. So tonight, we wanted to give you a second look at that interview.
Let's start by how this came about,
Yeah.
like how you found out.
Well, it was actually on February 8th, I went to the Ottawa Civic Hospital because my left arm was give me a lot of pain. It's very heavy. And Julia said to me,
Your wife?
Yes, my wife Julia, said, I think we need to get that looked at. And initially thought maybe it's something to do with my heart, a stroke, maybe some pulled muscle. And I had been out for a very long skate, thought it was just maybe an injury. But
because you're a really fit, athletic guy.
I run, I skate, I'm very active. And so I went into the hospital, and long story short, they did some CT scans. And it just so happened I took my left arm, put it over my head because they were scanning the left arm. And when the results came back, they found a tumor on the right side of my brain. And
like they weren't scanning your head?
No, it was just a complete coincidence that they found it. And you know, some days I think, thank God they found it. Other days I think maybe if they hadn't, I wouldn't have to be dealing with all this. But what happened then was quickly they did a diagnosis that it was a brain tumor. And on February 14th, so just a couple of days later, I had awake cranial brain surgery, which means that I was awake. And I had an amazing surgeon. I joked with my kids. I said, "You can brag that your dad was operated on by Drake," because Dr. Drake happens to be the name of the surgeon. So that was kind of fun. But it happened so quickly. And it was a big shock, and obviously it changed the way things were going in my life.
You only told people though that it was this terminal kind of cancer this week.
That's correct.
Were you worried about saying that out loud?
We were, and I'll be honest with you, we had thought of being public earlier, and I've always been very open, and when we had the diagnosis, we made sure that everyone in our family was part of that. So Nathaniel and Jordan, my two sons, the surgeon asked us, do you want them to be here when we give you the news? And we said, absolutely. And it was a difficult decision because I thought, well, how far did we go with this? But we knew at some point that was going to become public. And so
you are a public person.
Well, and people were aware of what was happening.
Did you think of Jack?
Yeah. I mean, you know, yes. So after the 2011 election, as you know well, we were all hopeful that things had turned around.
Yes.
And then we got that news, and it shook all of us to the core. And I thought, it's different for me. And I thought it's probably a good thing to be open about it as soon as possible, and to share as much as possible with the people that I know and the people who I know would want to know. And so, you know, I learned from his experience, and certainly, yes, he's been on my mind a lot lately.
What happened when that news came out on Tuesday? I couldn't. It was a lot.
It was.
A support came out for you.
You know, and there was incredible love and support from all over the country, from people from all political persuasions, and really was touching was all of my colleagues and former colleagues from the House.
We have all heard the very sad news about Paul Dewar, and we're thinking about him and his family. While we may sit on different sides of the aisle, we are all colleagues here together.
On behalf of the entire Conservative caucus and my constituents in Paul Dewar's hometown, we offer him all of our prayers and all of our love in this day.
I always appreciated when people got up in the House to say things genuinely and sincerely, and I saw that response, not expecting it at all, of course, but and that was very touching.
So at what point did you say to yourself, oh, this is all happening, and I'm just going to add something else to it and start a youth initiative and try and get some money and start, like, what point did you say, that's a great idea, Paul?
That's a really good question, Rosie, because it was the question around the House here. The same day I was operated on was the same day as the high school shooting in Florida. And that story really affected me as it did so many people. And it was this really interesting mix of horror, but absolute inspiration, because when I watched, like many people did, the response of those young students who really just said, we're not going to do things the way they've been done before. And we're going to take things on ourselves. And we're going to show so-called adults what matters. But I don't know about you, but I was so friggin' inspired by that. And that stayed with me. And then I thought of all the things I'd done as a teacher, as an MP, and the things that I really enjoyed doing. And then started talking to Julia and friends and thought, let's do something. I've got some time left to live. And let's live. And let's do something with that time I have.
What is it in you that even in a moment like this says public service, more public service?
So when I was diagnosed, I randomly opened up this book, which is a collection of reflections from a parish priest friend of my family's, Father Corbinetti. And the title of it was A Rusty License Plate Called Trust. And the first part of that reflection was, the real meaning of the word crisis is turning point. And when we have these turning points in our life, when we have loss, when we have pain, we have an opportunity to take that point and do something with it, that turning point. And I just took that and thought, this is a turning point in my life. What am I going to do with it? And I just thought, this is actually, and this is going to sound strange, but this is it's a gift that's been given to me to do something with. And so when I saw my mom, Nathaniel and Jordan, and thought about them, I just decided that, this is their youth, they're young guys, and I see what's happening in the world. I thought, let's do this.
There was a quote in I think it was the Ottawa Citizen article that struck me. I think it's from your pastor, who said, you face death and walk back into life.
It's exactly, it's so true.
I had never heard that before.
No, and it's Brian Cornelius, who's a minister who's been helping me through this journey. And he said, first of all, I said when I the diagnosis, and he said, well, I'll give you my best, summation from someone who's a pastor, and he said, this sucks. Which is what my son Jordan said too. And I said, you went to how many years of seminary school or ministry to come up with it, but he was right. But then he said to me, what you're really dealing with is what you're having to do is to face death and walk back into life. And I know we've all in our culture talked about the fact that death is going to happen, but we also avoid it when we can, right? Yeah. And I've held on to that because it's so true. And that's the gift part. I mean, we all are going to die, right? And so it's a matter of what we do with this life we have. And so Brian's point was that that the timelines may be a little earlier than you might have thought, but you now walk back into life and you can decide how that's going to work.
It's a beautiful way of thinking about it.
It is, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's been so helpful.
You've got, this legacy piece that you're trying to get in place. Yeah. You're spending time with your friends, your family, you're visiting your colleagues. What is the thing that you want a little bit more of?
I really would just like to have more time with those two guys and Julia. And if I could steal more of that time, and I hopefully will, that's what I want.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Nice to see you. I appreciate it very much.
A lot to think about in that interview. I hope you got something out of it, because I certainly did. Next on The National, a new Winterlude event got people out in Ottawa today. Why it was worth braving the frigid cold in our moment.
There's still so much work to do. We have rights, but we also need to change mindsets in this country.
We take pride in being progressive people, and You know, talk is cheap. It's time to get behind the cause and the community and show support.
Folks from Ottawa will know that February means Winterlude. So ice sculptures, beaver tails, skating on the canal. But this year on the schedule, something new. A Winter Pride parade to commemorate 50 years since laws criminalizing homosexuality were loosened. Now, it was cold out there, but that didn't stop people from turning out. NHL players, too, were there on Parliament Hill, and all layered up, they carried flags and called for more work to be done. Their march through downtown Ottawa is our moment of the day.
We wanted a place to express ourselves. A lot of us, to speak in a quote, hide in the closet. And to be ourselves and go out into the world is such a special thing.
It's really important to be at marches like this because, number one, this is a grassroots march.
Good cause to get behind, something that Tara and I hold near and dear to our hearts. A fundamental value of ours as individuals and as a couple, that love is love and everyone deserves a chance to be in a loving, healthy relationship.
I find there's a lot of stereotypes that people still put onto people, and that turns into prejudice, into hate crimes, whereas we need to fix those and say, I'm not just who I am. Like, this is like the place to do that.
You know, sobering to think how much progress has been made in the last half century, but also that such progress hadn't been made until the last half century. So lots more to work for in the future. That is The National for this Sunday, February 10th. Have a good night.